Welcome to the library of Cardinal John Henry Newman. As you can see, there are very many precious books here, which Newman amassed during his lifetime. This is a room where Newman wrote and studied and penned very many important works, including the Apologia Pro Vita Sua. Cardinal John Henry Newman was an eminent Victorian whose contribution to literature is not to be underestimated. He wrote many important works: theology, philosophy, and even music and literature. And of course, since last year, we are now standing in the library of a saint.
This library represents the fruits of a lifetime of purchasing and receiving books, many of which are of great importance and are indeed very precious. It includes volumes from many of the French religious houses after their expulsion following the French Revolution. And indeed we have books in this library which are annotated by both John Henry Newman and Bishop Bossuet, chaplain to the Dauphin of France under Louis XIV. Newman started to purchase the books you see in this library when still at Oxford, but in anticipation of his having to leave. Prior to that, he made extensive use of the library at Oriel, and indeed it served as an inspiration physically and in terms of the reference system to this library, which he finally founded here in Edgbaston in 1852. Unfortunately, the very handsome lantern window which Newman designed for the roof of this library is gradually collapsing, causing pressure on the walls and the very significant cracking that you can see here in the ceiling. In addition, water retention is causing severe damp, which has led to the mould that has been discovered on many of the books and occasionally has resulted in quite serious leaks into the library building.
So approximately 10 years ago there was a flood in the library and water came down this bookcase. And you can see here I have two bindings. They're animal skin and they have fused together as a result of the water ingress into the library. On the shelf below we have another example of a severely damaged book. You can see where the water has affected the boards, the front and back boards, and also the text block is very badly affected by mould. This has actually been removed, but there is still residue and it has actually stained and damaged the book. So it's very important that mould is removed to prevent further damage.
As you can see, the work is already underway. This involves the cleaning of the books and their removal to a safe place of storage. After that, essential repair works will be undertaken, which involves pinning up the inside of the library with lateral scaffolding, as well as scaffolding up the side of the house, and then tenting in the lantern roof, removing the lantern and rebuilding it. After this, the pitching of the roof will be made more acute in order to help rainfall to cascade off more effectively, hence stopping leakage into the library.
So we are removing 14,000 books approximately from this wonderful library. The process involves recording each book on a spreadsheet, then cleaning the book and wrapping, packing and removing the books to store. There are 4 cataloguers and cleaners, myself and 3 assistants, and Restore Harrow Green are the company who have been contracted to pack the books and take them to their store in Oxfordshire. So this is a machine called a Basser, and this is what we use to remove the mould from the books. We've hired this for the project from Conservation by Design. So we have a HEPA filter inside, and the operator brushes the mould into this filter. So in addition to the dessert, for those books which are not mouldy but just purely have surface dirt on them, we're using a museum vac which has an adjustable suction on it, and we put a piece of netting over the nozzle to prevent pieces of material being sucked up into the vacuum. So once the books have been catalogued and cleaned, they are then wrapped in acid-free tissue paper, 2 layers of acid-free tissue paper. The books are then placed into one of these crates, and pieces of this Jiffy foam bubble wrap are placed in between each book to prevent abrasion and movement of the books within the crate when they're travelling. Each crate is assigned a number and a barcode, and within each crate is a list of the books that are going in. So this is the box number which tallies with the barcode and all the information on the spreadsheet. It's essential that we have this method of recording so that when the books are returned to the library, we make sure that they are returned to the correct shelves and in the correct order. So the library has to be emptied of its contents in the short term because of the building work on the roof above. But the exercise, the cataloguing exercise that we're doing, we're also recording the condition of the books. So it's hoped that in the future there will be some funding to carry out essential conservation work to the bindings.
This building project also includes the Cardinal's room, which has been preserved in the oratory as he left it when he died in 1890. As you can see, the passage of time has not been kind to this room, and there is an awful lot of conservation work that needs to take place inside. In this phase of the building works, it is the outside that will be attended to. The walls will be repointed and damp proofing put in to ensure that the interior will be in a better shape to receive the necessary attention that it requires indoors.
So there is much work to be done. The sum total of this work is £925,000 plus VAT, a very large sum. But thankfully we have been given half of this by a very generous benefactor. So we have the rest to try to raise ourselves. Perhaps you feel you might be able to contribute to this important work. Whatever you can, large or small, would be greatly appreciated, or perhaps there's something specific you'd like to finance. Of course, this will help us to make available to successive generations the posterity and memory of our own beloved Cardinal, St. John Henry Newman.